Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Fully and welcome to another episode of Minecraft on the Just Vanilla server. Right, a long time ago, and it seems like an age ago, we built this very basic ice farm, which doesn't work very well and doesn't generate a lot of ice. And I'm finding myself in need of more and more ice. So what I want to do today is upgrade to the Ice Cube 2.0, which is what I used in most of the servers I've been on and my Let's Play worlds, and basically it's an ice cube generator using a series of pistons and activator rails and so on and so forth. So I'm going to build it over there somewhere behind me. It needs to be at a Y level of over 95 in an extreme hills biome, which fortunately enough I am in. It doesn't have to be extreme hills, it just happens that I'm in an extreme hills biome. So I'm going to grab a few bits and pieces and we're going to go over there and do a bit of groundwork. Okay, so I've dug out a bit of ground now and I'm trying to keep it within one chunk because I like doing that, if I'm being honest. I don't like the fact that if I walk that way, is it 9 or 10 chunks or something, then if it was over 2 chunks, this part would be unloaded, this part would be loaded. It could get all messy. So I try and keep everything redstone-y inside one chunk. It's still a little thing that I do. I've put my stone down for the base, and basically how this is going to work is we're going to have a load of detector rails running backwards and forwards all the way down to the back, all the way down to here. And on top of those, we're going to have some pistons. And every time a minecart goes underneath, it's going to fire that piston. So we'll have some water in here. We'll have a source block of water on that piston there. Because it's got access to the sky, it's going to freeze. And when it freezes, as the minecart goes round, it's going to push it up in front of that piston there, which is great. Then which means basically that the ice block will then be there. The minecart will go around, it'll go on top of this line of pistons here, which will push it that way. And then as the minecart goes back round again, all the way on its merry way, it gets back to there, that piston pushes it up out of the way. Like so. And that happens over and over and over again until that piston can no longer push the ice upwards. I think it's, I don't know, 10 or 11 blocks or something, until it can no longer push the ice up that way. When that happens, that piston pushes it across and it goes over to the next one, which is going to be here, and it does it again. And then so on and then so forth. And eventually, this entire area here is going to be full with ice. I think there's 100, I think it's 12 deep by 10 wide, so there's 120 on each level. There's going to be at least 10 high, so it's over 1,200 blocks of ice, which is probably what I need. So I'm going to start, I'm going to put together a little time-lapse kind of thing now. I'll start putting all the rails in, all the pistons in, and hopefully we'll have this finished in a day or so. Right, now we've done that, now we've got all the rails down and we've got the pistons down. We need to create an infinite water source over here. So we need to block off that down there, don't we? Now we need this to go. We need this never to freeze. Is that right? That's not right there. We need the water underneath here never to freeze. So even if all of the water in here is frozen before it gets pushed out, the water at the back then forms a water at the front because of the infinite water source. So I'm going to need that a little bit wider than that, aren't I? I need it going to there. And obviously the stuff at the back can't freeze. We just can't let it freeze. Because if it does, that spoils it, really. That's like that then. Like that. Like that. Now, I'm going to be using wood all the way around here, because when you've got a decent... this isn't decent because I lost it in the end, but once you've got a decent silk touch pick and you start whacking away, you can easily go through stone on the bottoms around the sides. So if you've got stone around the sides, once you're going hell for leather, you're probably going to demolish it. So I always put wood around the outside. I'm going to use a bit of wood, but we need to get this water in to start with, don't we? Just need to run out of blocks. Where's that one? Where's that one? Is that it? Brilliant, that's it. So now, because it's got access to the sky and it's above Y level 95 or 99, it should start freezing. God, I hope it's going to start freezing. So while we're waiting for this to freeze, and I'm sure it will, it's clearly not, it's going to take its sweet time, isn't it? I'm going to stick some blocks around the outside of here. I mean, you can use stone if you want to. I just think you're running the gauntlet, really, and I've got no stone. Okay, dirty it is then, just for now. So that's something I've got lots of. Okay, so let's get a minecart on there then. Now I found before that a normal minecart doesn't quite go far enough. A hopper minecart or a chest minecart goes much further on unpowered rails. And remember, all the ones in the middle are unpowered. The only power is being provided by the two at this end, so it needs to go all the way along on its own speed. And the hopper, the minecart on its own, tends not to go as far as a minecart with a chest on it. So we'll use a minecart with a chest on it, won't we? Perfect. So now we'll wait for it to freeze again. I have noticed that some of the ice, some of the water in there doesn't freeze. Never has, and that's why it's always been so inefficient. And I'm hoping that that doesn't happen here. I'm hoping all of that line will freeze, because if it doesn't, our cube's going to look pretty ropey. Our cube's going to look very ropey. This must be like watching a kettle when it's boiling. It's not going to happen, is it? Anyway, at least you can see that what's going to happen. It's just going to keep pushing it up until it reaches its push limit, and then it's going to push it over another one. We'll come back and check on this later, and I'll think about how to cover it over. But I need lots of ice because I need lots of water, and yeah, that's the reason for doing it. So so that's that one project done. Apart from making it look pretty. Making it look pretty, which you don't need to see me messing about trying to tart things up, do you? So that's the ice cube up and running. I'm going to grab my gear, and then we're going to have a wander off into the Nether. Wrong way. Now, a little while ago, I was watching a couple of videos, watching one by Tango Tech, where he made a really dirty, cheap and cheerful wither skeleton farm, which was such a good idea. I decided that we'd do something similar, but he used daylight sensors as the flooring, and I thought daylight sensors was such an expensive way of doing things. You know, not everybody's got loads of quartz and glass and stuff knocking about. So I toyed around with a few ideas, and I came up with an idea which is so much simpler and cheaper that I was surprised he didn't think of it at the time. You probably noticed in the base that we had a snowman sat there in the corner, and it's thanks to him that we've been able to do this at, you know, a fraction of the cost of buying loads of daylight sensors. Now, for those of you who aren't fully aware of wither skeletons, they'll spawn anywhere inside the bounding box of a fortress, and the bounding box of the fortress is the bottom northwest point up to the highest southeastern point of the fortress, and anywhere in there is the fortress bounding box. So as long as there's a 3-high gap and there's nether brick for them to spawn on, they'll spawn on it. Okay, so bearing that in mind and taking that into consideration, I've dug out a massive area here, which we're going to expand on, but I've dug out this area here, and all of this in here is spawning space for everything really, mobs of all kinds, but certainly wither skeletons, and there aren't any. 1 in 10 chance of those being normal skeletons, and we've got 2 down here. You wouldn't believe it. But anyway, the top and bottom of it is this, the snow here. 4 layers of snow get you to just the right height, the same height as a daylight sensor, and it's just high enough for you to be able to see wither skeletons and for them to be able to see you, but being too high for these guys and every other mob to be able to see you. So those guys won't aggro you unless you jump up and down. You just can't jump up and down. I was really hoping there to be a wither skeleton in here. I'll cut for this for a second, and I'll wait until I find myself a wither skelly, and then I'll show you how this bad boy works. Well, it didn't take long, and I'm hoping there's a guy up here. Yeah, there's one. So, like I said, these guys can't see you. They won't. They're not bothered about you anyway. But the blades certainly are. If they start getting aggroed at you, they start spitting fire, obviously, and they light the place up. It's a nightmare. All of them get aggroed. So this way, they can't do it. But those guys can. And he's straight away. He's aggroed at me, and he'll follow me up and down here. Come on, mate. Now, either end, if you've not seen Tango's video, either end there's some steps and a hopper system And these guys, because of the way they track you, they'll come straight up the steps and stand right in front of you. Because we've put this post here, we don't get close enough for them to hit us. But we can whack them. And anything they drop goes straight into the chest. And if you're lucky enough, I think it's a 1 in 5 chance, or is it 1 in 5, 1 in 6 maybe? Sorry, a 5% chance, 5.5% chance with a looting 3 sword that you'll get a skull. And so far we've got 2 beacons and 4 skulls downstairs in the base. So, you know, cut an hour in here, and we've got quite a decent haul. But what I want to do at the moment, the mob caps reach quite quickly because all of the pigmen in here, and there's no way you can stop other mobs from spawning on this floor, because if you do that, you stop wither skeletons from spawning as well. So what we can do is slab out the rest of the area, which I'm going to do, which is not a simple job. But also I want to put in some kind of flushing system that flushes all of the mobs off the floor. And because you can't use water in the Nether, I've decided I'm going to use a flying machine. Pistons and sticky pistons and slime. And basically you'll come to one end, you'll press a button, and the flying machine will go all the way down, taking everything that's with it, everything in front of it, with it, till it gets to the end. And then we'll have holes in the floor, or maybe just the end chopped off, and we'll kick the guy straight off the end onto cactus. And we'll have a wall along the top as well, I think. If we have a wall along the top there that's at that level, then any wither skeletons that do happen to spawn will get pushed onto that. They won't go through the gap because they're 3 high, not 2 high. So they'll sort of glitch through the slime blocks, the flying machine, and they'll still be left on the floor as everything else will fall off and die. And hopefully that will start freeing up some mob space for the withers to spawn again. So that's the plan. And it's not going to be easy with all these mobs knocking about, so I might have to build it behind closed doors over there. We're also going to have to utilise probably the new ceramic blocks. I've been keen to use those, and this is as good a build as any, I suppose. They don't stick to slime, so they're ideal. They're like furnaces or obsidian or melons, in the fact that you can use them with slime and they won't stick to slime. So yeah, I think we'll start doing that over there. So we're going to grab a bit of gear. So we'll get rid of that furnace, and that should allow it to go its merry way down that way. Oh, I've got the furnace in the wrong place down there, haven't? No, I haven't. Or have I? Oh, I need to go and double check this. I need the furnace at 73737. I might have it in the wrong place. That will be a disaster. 737. Seven 336. Yeah, it was in the wrong place. That would have been a disaster, as it would have gone whizzing down. I've lost the furnace as well. So if I update that one there, off it goes. Now the only thing it won't get to is the guy stood right against the glass, because I can't put it that close because of the stairs. Just going to push him. That might cause me a little bit of a problem, because that's going to push him up the stairs down here. But hopefully the rest of these guys are going to get pulled along with it. That's just a glitch, a visual glitch. I'm not really duplicating observer blocks and slime and everything. That's just something that happens. If this doesn't stop, it's just going to go off into the Nether, and I'm going to lose it forever. Well, it sounds like it's working. This could, I mean, if I killed them in a different way down the bottom, then this could quite easily turn into quite a decent gold farm as well, I suppose. But I don't want it to do that. I'm building myself a different type of gold farm. So yeah, it's cleared everything out that was down there, and cleared. So if I put one on the other side as well, then every time it goes down and back again, it's going to clear the floor and hopefully allow other mobs to spawn. See if I can get this going again. To just pop out and open up upstairs. Right, I believe is it this one or is it the other one? Right, once I remove that block, it should go back the other way. Brilliant, so that's where I've got to build the return. And if everything's equal, those guys are either going to suffocate in the block or glitch through the block and be on this side of it, and then we'll just get it going back the other way. It's a bit disappointing about the graphic glitching, the video glitching, but it's happened every time I've built a flying machine like this. It's happened, unless I've been on my single player world. But every time I've been on a server, this happens, so we just can't get around it. Yeah, brilliant. So he's glitched straight through it. So now when we do it again, damn, I've got rid of the wrong one. See, the problem with it is you don't know which one's real and which one's not. But anyway. Right, so if we have those as well down... I'll tidy this up. It's working. It's working. And hopefully it's going to clear us some space on the floor. Right, I've put the return in. I've put the return in down the other end, which I'll show you when it works. But it's a bud detector having a sticky piston, and it just automatically updates when that gets close to it. So we'll get this running off on its merry way, and upset these while we're at it. Let's get rid of him. Dispatch that dude, and we'll start this running. I will put a switch on this end. I haven't done it yet, but I will do. Idiot. We'll catch up with it, don't worry. It's not that quick. So it's going to make its way all the way down to the other end. taking everything with it. I'm guessing there must be somebody else in the end, because spawns usually aren't as bad as this, so I can only assume that there is somebody else knocking about. Although there aren't that many people on, but I think one of them must be in the end. So once it gets down to here, it's going to activate this bud detector, which flicks up, which activates the observer on the top and just sends it back down the other way. So I don't have to keep running up and down like a commoner, starting it and stopping it. Once I've started it at that end, it'll come down, it'll sweep everything in its way and then come all the way back again. So that's the mechanics of it, that's the top and bottom of it. All we need now is to get one on the other side and to tighten it up a little bit. So I think that'll do for today. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please don't forget to leave it a like, and if you've really loved it, don't forget to subscribe for future videos. This is Frilly off, and I'm out of here.